If we could come to order, I apologize for the delay in the start time. Do we have any public comments? The work plan was not in the book, but I don't know of changes. Do you?
No.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th?
So moved.
Those in agreement? Anyone opposed? Okay, outreach diversity events.
I have the book. I'm sorry, we just trying to fix up the computer, sign on the computer, so I can...
Oh,
Do you want me to just...
no, go ahead. We've all got the book, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon. As usually, Zanita Chape gives the presentation, but she's been out on leave, and Danny Camacho, who's been here before, he is otherwise engaged, so the honor falls to me.
I hope he's doing outreach.
Well, he had to take care of some personal business. But he has been very busy doing outreach, and we have been doing a tremendous amount of outreach, actually. So the presentation that you have in front of you gives the events that took place in April and the events that will take place in May and June. The Small Business Development Program, the spring session is currently underway. The last session will be next Thursday on April 28th. This semester started back in spring. And in addition to the events that are listed here, well, let me just go over the events first. The Professional Women in Construction, that event has been moved to May. The annual New Jersey Small Business Development Center Procurement Expo has been moved to June. And in addition to events which are listed here, we will also be doing an event in Putnam County on April 27. And staff also took part in Somos El Futuro conference in Albany. That's organized by the Hispanic legislature members. Yes, we notified Mr. Bickford about that event. Yeah. Okay. If I may just make a suggestion, if we could turn the microphones on. Oh, they are on?
Sorry.
No, mine is on, but if some...
Sorry.
Yeah, yours is on, because when we do the minutes, it's hard to sometimes hear. Okay, in addition to the events which are listed here, we are also going to be conducting a event on May 5th, attending an event on May 5th, which is the Mid-Hudson event called Gateway to Entrepreneurial Tomorrows, and that will be held in Fishkill. That was added on. That's not on the list that you see here that we just found out about. And we will also, in June, in addition to Putnam County, we're also going to Rockland County, and we will also be hosting the Women's Business Council board meeting in sometime in June. So that is the outreach initiatives which we have been engaged in for the past month, and that we'll be engaging in the future. Yes, at this point I would like to hand over the floor to Gwen Harleston.
Hi. For April, May, and June, it'll be MTA HQ Diversity Council and Bridges and Tunnel Diversity. Will be featuring a lot of diversity events. For April, which is something very different with Bridges and Tunnels, they're going to be celebrating Arbor Day. And the focus is on Central Park. Gloria, would you like to?
Yes.
Turn your mic on.
Yes. Hello. Good afternoon. This is the first time that we do such an event. We're going to narrate the history of Central Park in terms of the immigrants who actually constructed it, the design of the park physically, and also in terms of the social mixing of classes, which was sorely needed at the time. The city's population quadrupled from the late 1800s, early 1800s, and the only place where people found respite was in cemeteries, oddly enough. And so there was a call for this. The park was the first of its kind, the first landscaped urban park in the United States. And when it went into disrepair in 1934, it was Robert Moses, our patriarch, who restored it. and added the 21 playgrounds and handball courts and the like. And so we have a special bond. For 10 years, we were in front of Central Park. Our agency was located at 10 Columbus Circle when we owned the building. And so it was our place for respite as well. So there's a long history there. And also we're celebrating Arbor Day. And so it's going to be a very special event. The speaker has written 3 books on Central Park and is the Associate Vice President of the Central Park Conservancy. She is a photographer as well and is bringing an array of her photos. And we'll have a display. We have the one known photo of Robert Moses in Central Park on a canoe in the lake. So we're looking forward to that. And the last event of the season for us will be National Caribbean Heritage Month in June 23rd. It's the first time that we actually celebrate it. And the speaker is the executive director of the Labor Day, the West India Labor Day parading in Brooklyn, which has become an institution, actually. And the Caribbeans represent the diversity that we all celebrate. From Syrian Jews to Lebanese Muslims to Germans, Dutch, of course our African heritage. The Caribbean represents all of that. So we're very happy with that, the program we hope to present. And we're also going to have a steel band. So it'll be a carnival. Hope you can all attend. Thank you.
That's June 23rd?
June 23rd.
Is it May 20th?
And your Arbor Day is on Arbor
Arbor Day is, yes, on actually Arbor Day, April 29th.
I've heard you, I have an Arbor Day that I have to go to in my hometown because my husband does it every year. But I have heard your speaker, and you're in for a real treat.
Thank you.
And wonderful
Great.
photographs.
Great. Thank you.
Headquarters?
For headquarters, the Jewish American Heritage Month, we're going to move to May from April. We're looking at May 5th for the diversity event. And for June, we're going to be doing something new. It's called Dining with Diversity. We're going to identify certain restaurants throughout the city, and we're going to make arrangements for the employees to join us after work to celebrate different cultures and religious groups, so that we can all introduce them and make them aware of what's out there. You don't have to go to the same restaurants all the time or the same types of restaurants all the time. So we're looking forward to a wonderful summer. We're also working with Diana Jones-Ritter. She has challenged the MTA Diversity Council to do more than just events. So we are looking or exploring different avenues, maybe a possible all-agency diversity training session, maybe. But right now, that's just in the exploratory stage.
I think also that she funded a budget for these events
She did.
for the first time since when?
Well,
First time.
since I don't know
Forever,
when.
for as long as I've
Yes.
known.
Yes.
That's really good news.
Yes.
By way of suggestion, in addition to some of the restaurants in the boroughs as part of this Dining with Diversity, there is a great wealth of ethnic cuisines on 2nd Avenue in the area that has been adversely impacted by our construction. And if we could patronize some of those restaurants, it might really be a win-win.
Good
Excellent
idea.
idea.
Real good idea.
Yes.
My favorite is Persepolis, which is Persian and it's spectacular.
We'll make that.
Persepolis. On to our certification activity report.
Good afternoon. The first slide that we have is about the number of certification applications that we received during the first quarter of this year. In January, we received 16, February 11, March 7, for a total of 34. What I did, though, is I also provided information on the first quarter of 2008, 2009, and 2010 for purposes of comparison. As you can see from the total, in 2008, where we had 16 applications, and now in 2011, where we have 34, that represents a 112% increase from what we were doing back then.
That's great, Carolyn.
Thank you. The next page deals with the actual determinations that have been rendered so far for this quarter. We certified 15 firms. We denied 2. 7 applications were returned for a total of 24 new applications that were processed. Again, I provided a comparison from 2008, 2009, and 2010. As you can see, the numbers have gone up, although just slightly from last year to this year, but we still see an increase in what we're processing. Yes.
Yeah, that is good.
Well, it was good that we didn't have as many denials. I mean, I prefer to certify as opposed to deny.
Well, the better the outreach, the better prepared the people are. So my hope is that you continue to see applications that can be certified because people understand what they really have to do. I hope that works.
Well, you know, one of the things that I think is very interesting is most of the denials that I render is not because they don't understand. It's because they're surprised at how thorough we are in our review.
Well, that's good for you.
Yeah.
2010 end of year.
Right, this is for,
Yeah.
this is,
Yes.
Back to Gwen.
We made some changes this time around to the report. What we've actually done this time around is we've indicated the percentages that the agencies would like to reach within their recruitment area. So on the next page, you're going to see like each agency has a different percentage for females, and then we just showed you the total minority for each of the agencies. So you'll see these are the actual percentages that they're trying to reach. In our booklets before, we used like one standard, one size fits all. And so this time around, we decided to make some changes to the report so that you can actually see what the goals they're trying to achieve. All of the agencies exceeded 80% of the census availability for minorities. However, all of the agencies were below 80% census availability for females. We're still struggling in that area. So as you can see from the chart, it would indicate, you know, that each of the agencies are having some difficulty meeting the goal.
Why is that?
let me say that basically, as recent as last week I had a conversation with the chairman and with also Diana, and they're focused on getting the agencies to improve. There's some agencies who are doing a more effective job in hiring than others. And so next month, I guess in May, we're going to have this new interagency round table to borrow best practices. But the chairman sends a very strong message, and he's saying that in this city that there should not be a shortage of any group. And historically, we have also always had a shortage of Hispanics and women. And I'm hell-bent on getting all of the agencies to broaden their focus, and let's improve where historically we have failed. Let's deal with solutions and not stand on what the problems are. And so out of the roundtable discussions, if transit is doing something that the other agencies, in fact, should be doing, then we should go there.
Doesn't look like transit's doing very much in the female category. Yeah, when you think, I mean, when you look at it, when you look at the board, you're seeing, with the exception of Nancy, you're seeing the minority and female component of a board of, 22 people right at this table. It's pathetic.
That's not to belittle the progress that I've seen be made in the minority category, because when I first came to the board, we had challenges there too. So that's going along well. I think we have to think differently to get women involved.
Absolutely.
Maybe the women have to get together and talk about why we got involved with an agency like this. And if we could characterize that, it might help a little.
But I think also that there needs to be a better balance with the hiring managers and the EEO staff at each one of the agencies. Let me say this about transit. I think that on a certain level, transit has done a very effective job with respect to hiring minorities. I think that Tom has really led by example, and I think that basically as we move on, they will be one of the leaders in their hiring practices.
It's just the female. The female really shows out. Right.
we also want to make sure that there aren't hostile workplace issues
Right.
involved here as well, and I hope we're...
It's been the most difficult to get to move, too. We've seen the smallest progress in that area.
Let me say that 2 years ago that we made a promise that we were going to create a mentor program. I'm going to promise you that as we move on, that we are going to improve with respect to our hiring practices. You got my word on that.
Well, if I have your word, then I'm not in doubt.
We'll get there.
Okay, definitely.
Some of the corrective measures that we plan to implement is developing an all-agency recruitment plan, and that's the roundtable discussions that Mike previously mentioned. We have a tentative date for that meeting is May 10th or 12th. I've already spoken to Leon about that. We're going to participate in outreach activities that are targeted for females. We're going to examine how and where positions are being advertised. As I go through what we call the EEO programs, what I'm looking for is where are these positions being advertised, and then what population is, targeted for women. We're going to review the selection process. Maybe because in some positions or certain positions we have a panel of nothing but males. So we're going to try to integrate it. And maybe it's because, and maybe work cross-agency, not just limited, to that one agency. If we have the same job at another agency, maybe we can ask some of the staff from another agency to join in the selection process. We are going to identify and work with external and internal female advocacy groups, organizations. We are going to conduct more inclusion and diversity trainings, sessions, and we want to highlight the current females that are working at the agencies. For MTA's Women's History Month, we highlighted 3 females that were working in what we considered non-traditional jobs. And we had a discussion with them, a panel discussion. It was a wonderful event. And so we want to do more of that. The female employees that we featured, I think her name was Griselda.
Priscilla Cepeda.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes, she was fabulous. And Deborah Chin, who also works at Transit, and Sandra Nixon, who works at Metro North. So we are trying to highlight some of the accomplishments of the females within our agencies.
I think we also need to highlight, because it's something I've observed and I love to see, the promotional opportunities for women are significant there, and many of our women do really move up. So it's nice to be able to highlight that and be sure that we stay on track with that issue as well.
That's true. Going over to the 2010 year-end EEO complaints. Between December 2009 and December 2010, MTA and its agencies handled 423 complaints, citing 624 separate allegations. Of the 423 complaints, 209 were filed externally, meaning at the city, state, or federal agencies, and 214 were filed internally. The most frequently filed complaint, whether internally or externally, the most frequently filed basis of discrimination are race, color, disability, sexual harassment, and other types of miscellaneous discrimination. For Title VI, and you have the chart on page 15. On page 16, the year-end Title VI complaints, there were 24 complaints filed during 2010. 71% alleged race discrimination, 4% alleged color discrimination, 21% alleged national origin, and 4% alleged income. We are seeing, however, an increase in the Title VI complaints. We're seeing more national origin complaints.
It's interesting because
Yeah.
particularly if you look at the external complaints, we've managed to get that decreased.
Right.
The ultimate goal is to have a workplace where diversity is embraced rather than threatened. And
Absolutely.
when I see the numbers go down, I think we're getting there. But I'm sorry to see the national origin numbers, even though they're small,
Right.
going up.
They are increasing.
Mr. Program.
Yeah.
We-
You want to give a...
Yeah, a quick. The actual program is here, and we don't want to go over this again because we did it in CPOC, but the program has in fact been implemented. We're finding that out of the first 12 contract awards, 9 were awarded to state certified firms. So we're finding that the small business focus is having an impact on the certified firms because most of your ethnic minority firms, women-owned firms, are they're small. So if you create a program that captures that segment, then you will start to see an increase in contract awards to this group. And so we are here. Basically, we are doing a great job. That the state wants to create a statewide mentor program, and the city wants to create a citywide mentor program based upon our model. Let me also say that as of this morning, we have admitted 104 firms into the program.
Mike, does this mean you're leaving? Did you leave the SCA after you?
No, I'm here. I'm here for the long run. We are also talking to the FTA to create a mentor program on our FTA funded projects, and if we can get that'd be
very helpful.
great.
The ultimate goal is to fledge them into being independent.
Right.
And we won't know for 3 years, really.
Right. Exactly.
But it's worth a try. And it's really a successful program. I've had a lot of feedback from small businesses that I just encounter in various things. They're very hopeful. They want to be involved. They want more and more and more projects. We're on target for $10 million in the first year, and then by the end of the second year, $25 million. It's still small compared to our total contract awards, but it's a good way to start.
Cheryl?
Good afternoon. Page 20 of our M&W DBE participation of the total subcontracts, there were 4,391. Individually, that was 1,193 subcontractors that participated. There was a slight increase in the number of contracts that were awarded from the third quarter, 1,000 to now 1,012. Our M&W DBE participation on our inventory, the original subcontract amount is $2.7 billion, but the current subcontract amount is $2.6. The federally funded contracts on the DBE award, there were 3,532 contracts, or $1,086,000 in the award amount, and of that, the FTA dollars was $1,053,000. Of the 3,532 contracts, 118 were awarded to DBE firms. That represented $98,000, and of that $98,000, $98 million. Of that, the FTA dollars represented rounded off to $97 million. On the state-funded contracts, the combined M&WBE participation there were 58,622 contracts for a total of $2.3 billion, and of that 58,000 contracts, 1,557 were awarded to M&WBE firms valued at $76 million. On the individual breakdown, when you look at the M&WB participation, the number of subcontracts on the 58,000 was 552, valued at $106 million. And currently, although our goal is 10%, we're achieving 4.5 with anticipation of course, meeting our goal. The WBE breakdown of the 58,000 contracts, there were 1,005 contracts awarded to WBEs and rounded off 70 million awarded to the WBE firms, 3% of the 5% participation. Now, with respect to DBE participation and payments, there were a total number of 179 contracts, 5.9 billion in value, and 1,101 contracts awarded for $732 million, or 12% of the 17% goal. Of the M&WBE participation and payments, there were 833 contracts awarded, 10.3 billion, and the total M&WBE participation was 3,290, valued at 1,029,000, a total of 10% of the combined 15% goal. Of the individual MBE participation, there were 1,658 MBE subcontracts valued at $636 million, or 6.2% of the 10% goal. And on the breakdown for the WBE participation, there was 1,632 subcontracts awarded, valued at $392 million, or 3.8 of the 5% goal. Based on a summary of participation for this fourth quarter, the prime contracts valued at $24.8 billion, and the subcontracts was $2.6 billion, or 11% participation. And with respect to payments, the combined M&WBE participation for the fourth quarter was $84 million plus dollars.
And so basically, if you look at our goals, we were not able to achieve our goals because of certain factors, like with respect to, if there were two major mega DBE projects that was awarded, there was a finite few DBE firms. We need to do a more effective job of working with our contractors, because the onus should not only be on us to find subcontractors who they should work with, but they should really be out in the marketplace finding their own subcontractors. And I think that historically we have given them the benefit of the doubt and waiving their goals, but now we are not waiving goals right now. And so we are working with the contractors to make sure that they're doing everything in their power to go out into the marketplace and find subcontractors who they can work with. We also have to do a better job of dealing with both the contractors and also the unions, because I don't care if we certify 1,000 firms. If these MWDBE contractors are not union, they can't work on our sites if the GC is union. So there needs to be a better effective partnership between the agency, the unions, and also the large contractors, and we're headed towards that right now.
Well, if you hold people's feet to the fire, you get results, and I'm glad that that's what's happening, because I think that's really the best way we can improve these numbers.
Right.
Mike, a couple things. On page 32, it would be helpful if you could total these numbers, right? So you could see the aggregate for the years going across.
Okay.
All right. And then, although I understand why you're not satisfied, but also I don't have any basis to compare this year's activities with past year's activities on the percent achieved. It's my perception that you're doing a lot better than we have been in the past, and so it might be beneficial for the story that you're trying to tell to show last year, for example, MBE participation payments in all active contracts, 6.2% of the total this year. What was it last year? That's a rhetorical question. I don't expect you to have that answer now, but in telling the story that's about all the work you did, it would be good to see there's been progress or not progress year over year.
Right.
You know, I'd like you to show it in two ways, because I've tracked some of this just myself by looking at old books. It needs to be tracked not only in terms of what percent was attained, but the total dollar value that goes to the smaller business, the subcontracted business. in some years, we've had a substantial increase in the amount of money that went out, but the actual
Percentage.
goal was not attained
Right.
to the same extent. So it's, the goal is to get money out there and to meet a percentage goal, but I really like to see both things happening so that we keep getting more and more money out.
And it's a good story, and it should be told year over year.
Right. Got it. Done. Done.
That it?
That's it.
Move.
Thank you very much. I guess you were second, right? Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Let me finish by saying that the staff is doing a great job. I'm both inside and outside, and so it's tough to maintain both presences. But they're self-starters. They're staying up beyond 5 o'clock, 5:30, and they're here and they're working, and they should be commended for that.
Well, not only do I commend you for it, you bring enthusiasm, and not all of the meetings that we have on these days are fun. This is usually fun, and that's very nice to see because you're making progress. Things are moving along in a good direction, and it's a rewarding feeling, which doesn't always happen. So thank you for that too.
So I can start my day with